On y'all wolf tickets, people. You're eating them right up.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I back. Trust me, I back.
But I'm not impressed by your performance.
You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you'll do nothing.
I'll tell you what, bro. I was out there, I was fighting all the hitters, bro. You ain't fought no hitters.
Come on, guys. It's normal.
I'm not saying I would fight you. I would kill you.
John, do you think I'm just gonna sit there and let you kill me, John? I mean, really?
No, don't be scared, homie.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
I'm gonna beat you into the living death. I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, people like that get slapped.
That's fucking illegal.
Nick Diaz, you just shook up the world. How's that feel?
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
Well, this is a simulated death match. And you haven't simulated anybody's death yet.
I said it last year. We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
What is the game plan going in against him?
The game plan is you go in there, hit him with some good shit, don't get hit, and come home with a pocket full of cash.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
Do you want to be a fighter? That is my question.
What is up? What is up, Mixed Combat Radio family? And we just joined live as Gokhan Saki was knocked out brutally by Khalil Roundtree Jr. Wow, what a way to start the stream with the knockout. Sorry we were running a little bit late. We did have some technical issues as always, but we're here. We're live. Hit that like button, subscribe, share the show. Go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to support the movement. Quickly shout out everyone in the chat: Pittsburgh Brew, Jay Prodigy, Fern Goli, Georgie Porgy, Real Niger Chick. What's up, everyone? And yes, I'm joined by the ever so beautiful, the ever so lovely Mr. Santiago. How are you doing, Santiago?
Doing good. Dealing with technical issues, as seems to be the case, but we're here, we're live, and we are going to be doing the live fight chat for UFC 226.
Yes, we are. UFC 226, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Obviously, I was sort of setting up the show. I actually missed the knockout. I just looked up and I saw Saki on the ground. Beautiful left hand by Khalil Roundtree. I told everyone that this was a fight that you could not sleep on because Roundtree has legit striking skill, legit timing, great power, great speed, and Saki isn't the greatest athlete. Wow. I mean, is the Gokhan Saki hype train officially over? Is it done? Is it done, Santiago? Did you even feel the hype train because you're a casual fan?
No, honestly, as far as I'm concerned, it would have been with Roundtree all the way, just seeing the way that he got the knockdown and followed up with the strikes.
I completely agree. I think he, looking back on it, he probably should have been considered not necessarily the favorite, but it should have been near even money, to be honest. I mean, salute, man, because that was an impressive first round finish against a guy that none of us, I think, thought could do that. Even though I think there was a path of victory for him, 1 minute and 36 seconds in the first round, left hand straight down the pipe, down and out basically for the count.
And there was even a moment of hesitation when he went for the follow-up, too, which I actually found fascinating. I don't know if you saw that.
I'm not surprised by that. Looking at the way he went down, there wasn't recovering from that. And a few other punches behind that really wouldn't have changed anything, obviously. Khalil saying he's here. I feel you. I feel you.
Definitely feel the hype with this man for sure. Just seeing how he performed today, and just from the tape study I did on him alone.
In a night of good matchups and good fights, there wasn't really a great finish except for the Daniel Hooker, Gilbert Burns fight, which was on the UFC Fight Pass portion of the prelims. Everything else was decisions, I want to say, and kind of lackluster. Not the greatest. You had the Paulo Costa Borrachina knockout against Uriah Hall, but this was more impressive to me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel the energy with this one all the way compared to that one for sure.
But yes, I mean, that was an early first fight for the pay-per-view portion. Can't wait to see the next fight. I think the next fight on the card is Mike Perry versus Paul Felder. Should be another great striking matchup that probably produces another great finish.
And Paul Felder's actually replacing Yancy Medeiros, right?
Yes, Yancy Medeiros, I believe, got hurt, obviously, and Paul Felder came in after his fight was taken away from him. Brian Ortega in the crowd, Dan Henderson, 2018 UFC Hall of Fame inductee. Shout out to him for getting in. Oh, and Chris Weidman, what up? Oh, and Carolina, Cal K-Rich. A lot of notable fighters.
A who's who, right?
The who's who. I mean, it is International Fight Week. It's the Cinco de Mayo of MMA. You expect everyone that is anyone in the sport to sort of be in Vegas for this weekend. So, Santiago, what do you think about the fight coming up? Mike Perry versus Paul Felder.
Well, for a minute, I was kind of favoring Paul Felder, just seeing what his background was. Irish Philadelphian. He actually did do boxing for a little bit, even though he kind of went 0-1 on that one. But I like Mike Perry for sure. Like he seems to be the guy that is gonna have the goods if doesn't already have the goods. If that makes any sense to you.
No, I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. I think Paul Felder is one of those guys that's never gonna be a champion, but he's gonna beat everyone that doesn't deserve to be in the top 10.
Yeah, he's the guy who's gonna keep everybody in check, if anything, right?
Yeah, completely. And even though he's moving up a weight division, short notice, it's not like Mike Perry is this great athlete. You know, it's not like he's significantly bigger than Paul Felder. Even though he is bigger, he does have more mass on him. He doesn't have the cardio, doesn't have the athleticism, doesn't have the skill behind it. Paul Felder should win this one relatively easy, in my opinion. And I think it's going to lead to a very, brutal finish for Paul Felder against Mike Perry. Because Mike Perry, when he gets tired, he's hittable. And Paul Felder's going to piece him up with the standing elbows, his Muay Thai.
He's going to take advantage of the fact that he's got a man who's running out of gas, if not out of gas, right, by that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. I think Paul Felder is one of the most underrated strikers in that sort of weight range, because he's not really a guy that is flashy or doesn't have the one-punch knockout power of like a Conor McGregor, doesn't have the fluidity and the diversity like a Tony Ferguson even has, but he brings a very traditional, very fundamental Muay Thai kickboxing background to the cage. Mike Perry is more of a throwback, like boxer puncher, a little more of a brawler. I really don't expect Mike Perry to win this one.
It's going to be a good fight, though. It's going to be a fun fight.
It's going to be a fun one, but I don't see a path to victory really for Mike Perry other than a quick knockout out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, and you always got to love those come from behind one-punch knockouts.
Agreed. Definitely agree with that one. I want to quickly talk about the Borrachina fight. Paulo Costa, since we have a lot of time, obviously.
Yes, and the man who made it easier for everybody to pronounce his name at this point.
Yeah,
too.
Paulo Costa. Just Paulo Costa, Borrachina, whatever you want to call him.
Whatever suits your fancy.
Against Uriah Hall, a guy that I think has always had really great potential, but has never met it. I didn't expect Paulo Costa to actually struggle in the fight, and he did.
Yeah, the fight actually looked fairly even between the two of them up until the third round. And there was also the fact that, it kind of caught him, once in the eye, I think, and then in the groin too, which ate up a lot of time for Uriah Hall.
Completely agree with that. Completely agree. I think Uriah Hall, even though he has such great striking ability, he's never had sort of the IQ to put up a game plan. Like, he decided to stay in the pocket against Paulo Costa. If you just look at the right hands he was throwing to the body.
Oh, those right hands, those works of beauty, how brutal they were, too. I mean, they had you wincing, man. They had you wincing.
Like, that was a, like, no matter what combat sport you're watching, that is one of the most devastating right hands to the body you're ever going to see.
Oh, man. It was.
You know, like when gas CF starts unloading to the body? It was similar to that, but obviously more explosive because a little more athleticism and more speed behind it.
It looked just a lot more thudding and brutal, too. I mean, he landed those in succession, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 2, 3, maybe even 4 straight right uppercuts to the body, and it was just kind of like, how is he still standing? That was at least my thought.
Yeah, completely agree.
And then the finish, man. The finish
was a great was it left hook and then the right hand of the body.
Shots, in between the shots, too, no less. Down he goes, I think, right? He went down, didn't he?
Well, I mean, I think he was probably going down.
He was going down, but
when he got hit with that right hand of the body. Because remember, he got caught with the left hook up top, and then a right hand down low. But by that time, he was already going down.
Oh yeah, and he was on his way out of that too. I mean, you know, great win for him. You know, hopefully he keeps going on, and you know, I hope he's going, because that body does is going to lead to questions. You know,
completely agree. Jay Project in the chat saying, still can't believe Gokhan Saki got KO'd. I mean, the one thing that Gokhan Saki has never been as an athlete, you know, he got beat by better athletes in kickboxing throughout his career. Even though he had a great kickboxing career, beat some really good opponents, you know, when he faced a really fast, explosive knockout artist, he struggled. He would struggle because he doesn't have the greatest footwork. Great punching combination and great punching technique, but he stands in the pocket, squares up. Those are red flags when you're facing a quick guy with really good timing and a little bit awkward as well, like Khalil Roundtree. Roundtree with his hands down, it's really hard to see where these punches are coming from at times. Plus, he's a southpaw. There was a path to victory for Roundtree. You know, it's like this way: if Mike Perry comes out here and knocks out Paul Felder in one round, that to me is a little bit more shocking than Saki being knocked out. I know that might be blasphemous, but I mean, just because you have a great kickboxing background doesn't mean it automatically translates to MMA. Same with boxing, whatever, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can be great in your expertise, so to speak, but
that doesn't mean it translates well into success.
Into this field, you know, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, just look at just in boxing, right? All the amateurs that did not have great pro boxing careers.
I mean, go back and watch Saki's first fight in the UFC with Enrique de Silva. Enrique de Silva was landing good shots. Look at the way Enrique de Silva had Saki in a Muay Thai clinch and was delivering great plum knees. Like, if an Enrique de Silva can do that, who is not an athlete, who doesn't really have the knockout power of a Roundtree,
the limitations have been made clear.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think Saki, because of his kickboxing background, got a lot of hype. You know, Jay Project saying that's hella blasphemous. I get it. If you want to say it's blasphemous, I completely understand. But I think this should not have been as shocking as some people may have thought. Oh, wow, not Mike Perry, Paul Felder first. Of course, we spent the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes talking about that.
And instead,
it's Anthony Pettis versus Michael Chiesa, which makes no sense to me. Why would you? It's a more important fight. Put that. Never mind. I'm not gonna.
I'm
not gonna argue with that.
And for those who maybe missed the weigh-in, this is actually at a catch weight.
Yes, at 157.5. And Chiesa,
yes, 157.5, forfeiting, I believe, 30% of his purse.
Yes, 30% of his purse. I saw a lot of people hating on Chiesa for this. He said it's his last fight at 155. If you looked at the way he was at that weigh-in, you should not be blaming him. That motherfucker looked so drawn out and skeleton-like. Like, it was scary.
Weight cutting, always a prevalent issue.
And we have this issue with Danny O'Connor and the Jose Ramirez fight for on ESPN that got canceled, for boxing at least, not for MMA. It's just one of those things where extreme weight cutting is a huge danger in this sport, a huge issue that doesn't get talked about as much as it should, especially in comparison to stuff like PEDs and such. But Anthony Pettis, Michael Chiesa, Santiago, give me your thoughts on this matchup. What do you think is going to happen?
Honestly, I think a lot of it because of the fact that he couldn't make weight, the fact that he looked the way he did at the weigh-in, it changes my opinion. I mean, part of me kind of wants to see how well he handles himself with the weight cut, but then I also feel like he'll probably be I don't know, maybe he'll be two-way trained to really show us what he's capable of. So it's really hard for me to say at this point too, compared to like if he were, on weight, no issues, so on and so forth. It'll always change the opinion how a person makes weight and if they make weight in the first place too.
True. I mean, since Michael Chiesa did not look completely healthy, it should be a factor now in anyone's determination of this fight. I completely sort of understand that sort of process.
And if he loses, obviously everyone's just going to look to the fact that, oh, well, he cut too much weight. And that's pretty much one of the storylines at that point too.
But I think if you isolate that, if you table the weight cutting for a second, Chiesa should win this, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, no. He's definitely the guy that I was picking to, win this fight. Just looking at, his technique, his form, and everything. And like I said, it's just the fact that he missed weight, he couldn't make weight, and he did forfeit. Have to pay the penalty. Everything. It makes me wonder what's going on in his mind right now with all this transpiring.
And then another X factor we got to think about is what sort of state of Anthony Pettis do we have in 2018? Because to me, he is looking more and more washed with every fight, looking more and more faded and shot. And even though Chiesa having a bad weight cut, obviously.
Maybe it's still enough to win him the fight, depending how washed Anthony Pettis is at this point in his career.
I think if you had a prime Anthony Pettis, he would have...
Oh, he would have probably decimated him.
He would have head kicked him and knocked out Chiesa within 2 rounds. But we don't have that. We have a faded Anthony Pettis who had his rib broken from a body triangle from Dustin Poirier. I've never seen that before in my life. See someone get stopped from a body triangle. I've been in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gyms a lot in my life.
That's an impressive feat to accomplish, if you ask me.
Unless you're a white belt and you don't like the pressure of it and it bothers you. But legitimately, there's no reason to tap to a body triangle. Anthony Pettis had his rib cage broken in, basically. Like, he is that fragile. Chiesa, even though he's not the greatest striker, I think has enough striking acumen and skill to compete with this version of Anthony Pettis. And obviously his wrestling and grappling, I think, will carry over. I think he's eventually going to, cause some scrambles with Anthony Pettis. There's going to be some great grappling exchanges between the two because Anthony Pettis is still, I would say, a really good grappler. Not the greatest, but still a really good grappler. Like, look at this finish of Benson Henderson in their second fight. But Chiesa is just a much different animal in terms of grappling, much more dominant in positioning.
Plus the height and reach advantage.
It's just a little bit too much in Chiesa's favor, even with
the weight cut.
Because I think having a bad weight cut obviously affects your performance, but we've seen fighters overcome that. We've seen fighters still win, and especially with a matchup like this. This should be like Lucas Matisse fighting a Jeff Horn in 2018
Yeah, I can see
like,
that.
obviously, in 2015...
Oh, you would have freaking...
It's a different story entirely.
Yeah,
like,
easily.
Lucas Matisse wins that hands down, but in 2018,
yeah,
it's
he
just
looks
different.
Like he's a shell of himself at this point.
Completely. It's just entirely different. What up with Johnny in the chat? Chat's arguing about something. What's up, man? How you guys doing? Marquise Smith, Jonathan, Hands of Stone. What's up? Hands of Stone. Oh, that's a Legacy member right there, man. It's Legacy. He was blocked at one point on MCR. I think I unblocked him. You're welcome. Yo, I hate Chiesa's hair. I don't know how a guy with that haircut gets the girl that he has. I don't get it. He has a fucking mullet.
Chicks dig the mullet.
Chicks dig the mullet.
You remember the days.
No, I don't remember the days.
Okay, well then maybe I remember the days. And this was before I was drinking too.
First round starting between Anthony Pettis and Michael Chiesa. Second fight of the UFC 226 pay-per-view card. Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Hit that like button. Share the show. Subscribe. 1,000 subscribers before the end of the month. And I want to hit at least 100 likes on this video. So make sure you hit that like button. At least.
Well, 20 minutes into the fight.
20 seconds.
20 seconds into the fight, and Michael Chiesa has pretty much already taken Anthony Pettis down. And
has half guard. I mean, Anthony Pettis is trying to reposition and for this guillotine, but he doesn't have it at all. He's going to give it up eventually. I don't know why Chiesa doesn't just go into side control. Like like the legs aren't locked. Like Anthony Pettis' legs aren't locked. He could easily get out of that. Chiesa going for an arm triangle, looks like. He doesn't have it, though. Anthony Pettis trying to stack him on the side of the cage. Anthony Pettis, not Anthony Pettis. Michael Chiesa landing some good ground and pound right here. Ooh, good scramble right there. Anthony Pettis getting out, takes the back of Michael Chiesa.
It looks like he's trying to go for the choke.
He doesn't have it. Doesn't have the back either. Kimura grip from Michael Chiesa, but more likely just to reposition. You rarely see anyone pull that off nowadays. Especially a standing Kimura. You use it for that right there. Try to trip him into a takedown. Both guys on the feet. Good head kick by Michael Chiesa on the exit. Both guys in the center of the cage now. Good little grappling exchange there from both men. Like I said, the scrambles from these two guys are going to be excellent. They're both scramble-heavy grapplers. Chiesa just a little bit better, as we saw. Pettis has Chiesa up against the cage.
Going for the foot stomps, but not having much luck or success at this point. They're just kind of stalemating at this rate.
I don't know why Pettis chose to exchange in the grappling or start with it.
Good knee. Trying to go for the takedown, Michael Chiesa.
Going for the double leg. Deep double leg. It looks like he has his hands together, but I don't think he has them together that well.
Nah, he doesn't look like he's gonna. Nope. And
tripped him in the first takedown though. Pettis trying to go for the triangle, but
doesn't have it.
No, but he's actually fairly decent in terms of the setup. Transitioned to arm bar, but lost it. Chiesa repositioning. Chiesa's just going to outposition him the entire fight, basically. He could just keep doing this till Anthony Pettis wears out.
Get the decision or get a late stop.
A late submission, I could see that. But he's just going to keep doing this. I mean, Michael Chiesa's a better grappler. Everything Pettis is doing seems labored.
Yeah, he's just trying to get there, but it's not having much effect at this rate. Head kick blocked.
When Anthony Pettis is here at range, he needs to start doing more because he's not capitalizing here. This is where he should be winning the fight. It looks like Anthony Pettis is already breathing a little bit hard.
He's just following. Now he's not really doing much at this point.
Ooh.
Nice.
Good leg kick by Anthony Pettis right there.
Spinning kick misses.
Jonathan saying, I'm going to be wrong on this. Chiesa looking good. Man, if you picked Anthony Pettis in 2018 to win a fight, I don't know what you're watching, man. He hasn't fought in over a year. His last fight was Dustin Poirier. Go watch that fight again. Nobody should be picking Anthony Pettis nowadays. Looks a little bit out of shape, too.
Grab the leg. Goes down.
Chiesa transition to his back. Trying to go for an ankle pick. Doesn't get it. Marquise Smith in the chat saying Pettis is washed. Yeah, he is. Spinning tornado kick by Anthony Pettis. Misses. Dropped Chiesa.
At the end of the round, no less. Now, that's what you call.
Was that a left hook or a right hook?
I actually thought it was a left straight.
It was a little bit more of a hook than a straight. But obviously, we're going to see the replay very soon. Who won that round?
I would say Michael Chiesa. I thought he had better control throughout the round. What do you think?
I agree. I don't think the knockdown at the end should steal the round. for Anthony Pettis. I think Michael Chiesa slightly edged the round 10-9.
Yeah.
The grappling exchanges he just was better in throughout. And like you said, controlled. He controlled the round throughout. What do you guys think in the chat? Who won that round? Jonathan saying Chiesa's washed. That's hilarious. That's good. So, of course, they show the takedown replay, not the knockdown.
I hope they show the knockdown. We need to know. At least I need to know.
There
Yep,
you go.
there it
Come
is.
on. Oh, nope. It was not a knockdown. Damn.
It looked like one, though.
It did. It really did. I think he missed the shot completely, too.
Oh, man. If the judges saw that, too, then he definitely didn't steal the round at all.
No, because he didn't knock him down. He stepped on his foot. Oh, good right hand. Hurts Michael Chiesa. Flying knee. Chiesa's hurt. Guillotine attempt by Anthony Pettis. Does he have it? No, it doesn't look like he has the angle. It's close, but he doesn't have the right angle. His hips are a little bit too far out. He had to give it up. Damn. Why did he go for the guillotine? He had the positioning. Triangle attempt from Anthony Pettis. Looks close. Looks close.
Does he have it?
Yep. He got it. He's tapping.
And Anthony Pettis.
Submitted Michael Chiesa via a, I think that ended up being a armbar.
It looked like an armbar.
It looked like an armbar. He transitioned to an armbar at the very end.
And congratulations. Someone who just picked Anthony Pettis is probably laughing really hard right now.
Because I was laughing that you can't pick Anthony Pettis to win a fight in 2018. And he just won a fight. Salute to me. Yes. But salute to Anthony Pettis, man. Great submission. Great. You know, he hurt him first at the beginning of the round with a beautiful right straight, with then a flying knee after that. Went to the guillotine.
It looked like we might see a repeat of the first round, but he did not stop trying.
Oh, Chiesa waving his hand. Throws a kick, gets caught with the right hand.
Beautiful straight right to the chin.
Flying knee misses, though. I thought it landed. And then eventually Anthony Pettis locked up the triangle, then transitioned to the armbar. Beautiful finish for Anthony Pettis. Great win. Pedrag Javic in the chat saying, when does Stipe versus DC start? Probably like 9:30ish.
8:30 if all the fights end early.
I don't think it's going to be 8:30. Come on. What are you thinking here, fam? We got 2 more fights and then the main event. 9-ish, 9:15. 9:15, yes.
All right, we'll see.
That was funny. Marquis Smith said, I said Pettis would win by TKO, but Pettis is still washed. Chiesa's trash. Chiesa is kind of trash, man. Like, Chiesa's, I think, one of the biggest overachievers in the sport. For his lack of skill and athletic ability, for what he's achieved in the sport, I think he's done a lot. Anthony Pettis at one point was supposed to be the next guy. I mean, he was on the Wheaties box, for God's sake.
Yeah, he was the last WEC champion, and he was at one point the UFC lightweight champion too,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Yes, he was. I mean, he defeated Benson Henderson via armbar, broke his arm, actually. You know, and then got absolutely demolished by Rafael dos Santos, and just his career forever changed after that. This is his best win since his loss as a champion. Like that, like this is better than the Jim Miller decision win. That was really bad. I mean, salute to Anthony Pettis. He needed this.
And he looked good. He looked good, despite the fact that most of us were kind of writing him off at this point.
I mean, he looked good. He didn't look great. He still looks a little bit old, but power doesn't fade. That's the one thing that is the last thing to go is power. You know, he may not have the durability or the athleticism that he once had.
But he still got that fight-changing power.
He still has that sniper-like power that can change the fight.
And boy, did it ever. And in a win that I think he probably needed too, right?
No, Jay Project, you misunderstand what I'm saying. Lack of athletic skill. Have you seen the Showtime kick? I'm talking about now in 2018. You know, just like Manny Pacquiao throughout his entire career was a supreme athlete, and then all of a sudden he's not Roy Jones Jr., one of the best athletes,
one of the greatest athletes
ever
of his generation,
across all sports.
And
he is one of the best athletes of all time. Look at him now.
Yeah.
Athleticism is actually one of the first things to go, I would say.
If you are gifted in athleticism, it will be the first.
Yeah, I mean, before your chin, athleticism is usually the thing to go first. Anthony Pettis definitely isn't the athlete that he once was. I feel like that's undeniable. You may disagree, Jay Prodigy, and that's, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you can't tell me that this version of Anthony Pettis and the version of Anthony Pettis that fought Benson Henderson in WEC is the same athlete. That is entirely different. Wow, all the MMA fighters, Luke Rockhold, Donald Cerrone,
Darren Till flicking off
Chuck
the camera.
Liddell. Chuck Liddell, what are you doing out here, man? Talking about washed fighters fighting. Shout out to that Tito Ortiz pay-per-view where Golden Boy and Oscar's getting 40% of the cut, and they got split 30. Him and Tito got split 30%. Oscar gets 40% of the revenue.
He ran away to the bank with that.
Yo, Oscar fucking swindled these motherfuckers, man. I love it. Oh, it's hilarious. What is up, everyone? Georgie Port saying, if Showtime is old, then Cormier is a dinosaur. Well, Cormier is not a supreme athlete, like I would say. Like Cormier isn't the type of athlete that a Yoel Romero or an Anthony Pettis or any of these other athletes we sort of think of that are supreme athletes in the sport. Daniel Cormier's not one of them. He's always sort of been Fat Fedor, like he's always been that.
Yeah, like Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, like he's been the blue collar like workman like fighter. Like he's never been a great athlete. I don't know what you're talking about.
And he's definitely never looked like he was a superb or finesse athlete too. He looked like the kind of guy that he was a skilled fighter and he was a skilled wrestler.
Yes.
And he was an Olympian.
And obviously, I'm talking about like all these fighters are world class athletes. Like we all know that. But I'm talking about the levels of difference, that marginal difference that leads to a Roy Jones like or a Murat Gassiev like.
Yeah.
Two very different world class athletes. Right? Can we not agree on that?
Easily, handily.
Starting low promo now for a TJ Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt 2. Awful matchup. Jay Parjay saying, LOL, he was in the Olympics. Okay. And? Yoel Romero was in the Olympics and Daniel Cormier was an alternate in the Olympics. Tell me which one's a better athlete. Jay Parjay. Like, come on. Like, you don't need to be stupid to understand this point. Like, it's not that hard. Not everyone is like that. And Jonathan saying they mean he got a dad bod instead of John Jones' body. No, it's not even that. Like, is there a fighter with a dad bod body that is actually a supreme athlete? I think there is one. I mean, it could be a correlation, but it's not because he has a dad bod.
Yeah. I mean, there are a bunch of people out there that definitely don't have the body that makes you think, oh, you're a fighter, or you're an athlete, or whatever. I mean, just look at Roy Nelson.
Yeah, I mean, and look, I mean, we can sit here and say that Daniel Cormier is one of the greatest fighters of all time. I've gone on the record saying he's the second best light heavyweight of all time.
Born in the generation of the GOAT, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we don't just sit here and say that he is the same level of athlete as a John Jones. Like, just because, like, you may think that, we're saying that because Daniel Cormier doesn't have the body like a John Jones, but I think that's just a indirect correlation between the two.
Yeah, because, they're the people that help make each other's career, really, and they both put on a good fight with each other. But how can you take that away from them?
Agreed. Fighter IQ, a.k.a. Ron the Mastermind, saying, I'm excited for this TJ Cody rematch. I'm not. I could have used... I would have liked to see the TJ versus Dominic Cruz rematch first, to be honest. Jay Parr saying, Roy Nelson can't move like Daniel. Stop this disrespect. No, of course not.
We're not saying he can either.
But again, you're comparing Daniel Cormier to supreme athletes like a Yoel Romero. Like, are we really going to sit here and pretend that those two guys are the same level of athlete? Jay Parjay, please tell me that in the chat. That's what you're saying. Otherwise, then what are you? then what's your argument? You are arguing a semantical point that just because he's this great fighter, that therefore he must be a world-class, high-level athlete. Those are two completely different things. Eric Morales, awful athlete. Phenomenal fighter.
Yeah. Just look at the wars he's had, with Barrera alone and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With Pacquiao, too, he is going to go down as one of the greatest Mexican fighters of his time, but,
Triple G, great fighter, not necessarily the greatest athlete.
He's got a good physique, but...
He does. I mean, he's not really extremely fast. No fast twitch muscles. Not really explosive.
No superb evasive head movement. He is just...
Not really quick in any sort of category, so to speak.
He is just good at what he does.
Yeah.
He is exceptionally good at what he does.
Jay Project making a very great point, saying no one is on the same level as Yoel Romero. I mean, he does have a very good point there. That might be true. But again, talking about Anthony Pettis obviously is not the level of athlete that he once was. I think that should be obvious. But moving on, digressing from that topic, Paul Felder versus Mike Perry coming up next.
And what we thought was going to be the next fight.
Yeah, we were wrong.
Hey,
we were obviously wrong. It's next.
Just one fight, right? Just one fight.
Yeah, it was only one, and it was a first-round knockout. Hell, we've had 2 first-round knockouts. Not knockouts, finishes, I should say.
Yes.
Finishes. Pay-per-view so far, and the prelims were slow, man.
Oh.
I'm so glad we're getting these quick finishes.
Especially with all the time that they were cutting, too. Just look at how they had to cut the interview short.
Oh, poor Rafael and Sunsun, man. Think about it. I told you this when we weren't on air. We're watching the prelims in the studio. I said that Sunsun's probably the best bantamweight ever that's never won a title, right? And he said it, Joe, this is the first time you're ever interviewing me. Right? He said that, right? Didn't he say that? And then they cut his interview short. Oh, my God. Poor Sunsun, man.
We're running out of time. We got to cut this short.
They hate that guy. They must hate him. Poor guy. Mike Perry, one of the world's stupidest people, fighting Paul Felder. One of the world's nicest people, actually. Paul Felder's a really good guy. Yeah. I met him once.
You met him once?
Yeah, nice guy.
Maybe I'll just go for him because he's nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare to have nice guys in the sport, or at least I should say it's rare to see the nice guys in the sport get any sort of push, any sort of hype.
Especially in the age we live in now, where everything runs on hype and trash talk.
Mm-hmm. No, we live in the Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor era, the social media era of fighting.
The nice guy is a throwback to those gentleman days of a fighter. When you look at someone like him, and I could think of Alexis Arguello, the gentleman boxer.
Yep, completely agree. And then you have a Donald Cerrone, which is great friend of Paul Felder, who is the more like the Jake LaMotta throwback, the smoking, drinking.
Cowboy Cerrone, he's pretty much living to that name, if you ask me.
And shout out to him, man. He just had his first kid. Salute to him and his wife. I remember when Donald Cerrone was dating Brittany Palmer, who's a ring card girl, and he was on the Tap Out show on Spike, way back in the day. We're talking about 2010, I want to say. So salute to Donald Cerrone, man. 8 years later.
He's a father.
A father, great UFC career. I think he's tied for the most fights in UFC history. I want to say, or he's actually the record holder. But I want to say he's tied with Michael Bisping and George St. Pierre.
I could look that right now if you want.
Yeah, look that up for me, please. Talking about a Sunset, one of the greatest bantamweights to never win a title, Don Cerrone, one of the greatest fighters to never win a belt.
You gotta love those conversations. The greatest to never be a champion.
Those are great conversations. Those are the best debates because there's really no answer for it. Because you can't have a belt to fall back on. Well, he had a belt. Doesn't exist.
He is tied with George St. Pierre and Michael Bisping for the most wins at 20, and tied for the most finishes with Anderson Silva.
Into the mic.
Tied for the most finishes with Silva and Belfort at 14.
Oh wow.
And tied with both Pierre and Bisping for the most wins.
But not the most fights.
Not the most fights.
How many UFC fights does he have?
Oh, no, you're right. The most wins at 20. Tied for the most wins with 2.
Yeah, 20. With 20 wins. And I'm surprised about that finish. record. I didn't know that he was tied with Anderson Silva for that. That's
and Vitor Belfort.
I'm pretty sure I remember hearing that Vitor Belfort was tied for that. I mean, he had that run of like 3 years where he was just finishing everyone with head kicks.
Man, that's a three-way circus right there.
The TRT era was a good era for him. Illegal steroids. It was amazing. Great time to be an MMA fan. You saw Vitor Belfort jacked up back when he was 19 years old, knocking out heavyweights. It was great. Paul Felder coming up right now. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the show, go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Interesting conversations in the chat right now. A lot of debates. I like it. Marquis Smith saying Cowboy is the Karl Malone of UFC. I'm okay with that. You know, I can see that.
I just love what Fighter IQ just said. Just give Cowboy some random to get the record.
Yeah, anyone. Just give anyone. And they will. They will.
Just for the fuck of it.
Fuck it, why not? And come on, Don Cerrone, he has another 5 years fighting at least. At least.
It'll happen. It's going to happen.
He's going to be one of those guys that you're going to have to make retire.
Yeah, someone's got to have to put him out to pasture before he decides
like
to go
Odiola,
out.
you know, you're going to have to do it.
Sorry, man, but when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Mike Perry's going to be one of those guys, too. He seems kind of crazy. And that's kind of thing, putting it lightly.
That's putting it lightly.
God, this is so long of a wait. That's the one bad thing about a lot of early finishes.
Oh, they gotta chew the fat at that point.
Yeah, because they don't want like an hour-long telecast. That's not good.
And an empty slot of time, too, for that matter.
Hands of Stone, stop it. Saying Matt wants Donald to get CTE by the sounds of it. I don't want him to, but I mean, if anyone's going to get CTE, Donald Cerrone is a prime suspect, let's be honest.
I think the word you meant was prime candidate.
Candidate? Yeah, suspect was wrong, huh?
Suspect looked like he was suspect.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, candidate would be better. Donald Cerrone just, I mean, let's be honest. Am I ever going to say that I don't want to see a Donald Cerrone fight? Probably never. Unless he gets to like that like Angulo level.
Yeah, where it just becomes a pain and like torturous to watch him when we
Yeah,
know
I'll get there.
how
I'll get there
well
eventually.
he used to be. You know how
I got there with Chuck Liddell and people like that. You know, like you get there, especially when people start getting knocked out a lot. That's the difference. And people start getting like clean checked and just finished when they used to be
an indomitable force.
That's when you start getting kind of worried about it.
That's when you care for them. That's not when you're caring for the fight. That's when you care for the person.
Hand of Stone saying, Matt, what do you think of the Anatomy of a Fighter series in Dagestan? I did not see that. Did the UFC produce that, or is it somewhere else? Let me know. John Gonzalez saying Darren Till killed him. That's because Darren Till is a gigantic welterweight in his prime with insane knockout power. And that's going to happen to guys like Donald Cerrone. Donald Cerrone is not the great. He's not the championship quality sort of guy. He's a perennial top 10 guy. Oh, the Irish Dragon, Felder.
Once again, Irish and Philadelphian, that's 2 levels of tough right there. I just can't overlook that. I really can't, man.
I didn't realize he was from Philly.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense now.
Does it?
Yeah. Philly guys have like a way about them.
That's true. A lot of them do. And in a place that's the city of brotherly love, apparently. Very oxymoronic, if you ask me.
And no hand touch for either guy as round 1 starts between Paul Felder and Mike Perry. 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the round, or I should say, left in the round. Leg kick by Paul Felder. Expect to see that a lot. Expect to see Paul Felder start using a lot of kicks, work his kickboxing game, try to work at range as well. He doesn't want to be in the pocket with a guy like Mike Perry for too long.
The center of the octagon is going to be home.
Or like this, against the cage. You push Mike Perry against the fence, work some knees, maybe level change into some takedowns. You can do that as well. Disrupt Mike Perry's flow, his cardio. There's already a cut open on Mike Perry, looks like. Looks like on his forehead or on the hairline.
Yeah, it looks like it's the forehead.
Both guys in the clinch still. Working for position, exchanging sporadic knees. Attempted level change by Paul Felder leads to nothing. Ooh, good elbow on the break. Or not the break, or in the clincher today from Mike Perry. Good uppercut by Mike Perry there in the clinch.
Elbow by Paul Felder.
Both guys out range now. This is where I think Paul Felder can really excel at, is at range right here. Especially if we get Mike Perry out of the first round. I mean, that guy has an awful cardio.
Yeah, he wants to work that body too. Jab to the body right there.
John Gonzalez in the chat saying Mike Perry needs this win. He definitely does, coming off 1-2 down the pipe from Paul Felder, lands on Mike Perry. Perry eats it though. Mike Perry, I think, on a 2-fight losing streak, I believe. I think it's only 2. Hasn't looked that good as of recent. Well, I think there's a cut now on Paul Felder's forehead as well. Great elbow there on the inside from Mike Perry. Ooh, spinning elbow from Paul Felder. Glances Mike Perry on the top of the head. Both guys landing some really hard shots at range right here. About 2.5 minutes left in the round, halfway mark in the first round. Felder feints a spinning shot but gets tagged with the right hand over the top from Mike Perry. Ooh, step-in knee from Paul Felder lands. Both guys land some punches afterwards.
Nice right uppercut. Goes for the knee, but does not land it.
Combination from Mike Perry gets slipped by Paul Felder. And some actually really beautiful head movement.
Some really great technique being shown by both guys.
Agreed. Mike Perry's been, it looks a little bit better here than his past few fights. A little more fundamental, a little more short on his shots, keeping a little more compact.
Front kick to the body.
From Paul Felder, trying to establish that distance, keep him at bay. Ooh.
Head kick.
Left head kick high from Paul Felder, partially blocked by Mike Perry. Good jab by Paul Felder right there.
Goes for a jab himself, but does not land it. It is blocked.
Spinning kick by Paul Felder misses. Both guys kind of slowing down here, it seems.
With 60 seconds to go in this round.
Both guys seem to be waiting for an opening to then explode and swarm his opponent.
Mike Perry getting Paul Felder to the cage. Looks like they're trying to work for positioning again. Good knee by Paul Felder.
Perry's looking for that elbow. Boom. Just threw it right there.
Front kick.
About 30 seconds left in the first round. Tight round, actually, between both guys. Mike Perry's gone off some good shots. Felder probably slightly doing more throughout the round.
Maybe edges this round, depending what happens right now.
Spinning back kick from Paul Felder. Slightly lands.
Ooh, good elbow by Mike Perry.
Spinning back elbow there.
Nice body shot.
Oh, spinning back fist from Paul
knees.
Felder. Good exchange at the end of the round.
Tries to go for the takedown, but does not get it as the round comes to an end.
Close round. I give that round 10-9 to Paul Felder slightly.
Very slightly. Those cuts.
Andrew Stone saying, Mixed Combat Radio. You're a hardcore MMA fan compared to me and you don't know Anatomy of a Fighter YouTube channel? WTF. Go check his channel out. Best fighter footage, bar none. No, I don't know some random YouTube channel that's called Anatomy of a Fighter that's in Dagestan. I'm sorry. I hope that doesn't... Do I need to give you my hardcore fan card back? You know, is there exchange rate? Do I get it back in 2 weeks? Probation? What's the process here? Andrew Stone saying his footage was used on embedded when Conor attacked Khabib's bus. Okay. So basically he just Khabib's personal YouTube channel? I could give two shits about that. I don't watch the Mac Life. Does that make me not a hardcore because I don't watch the Mac Life? One of the best channels and sites for MMA. No, I have better things to do. Fighter IQ saying hit them likes. Definitely hit them likes. Round 2 starting. I'm really curious about the cardio of Mike Perry. That's one thing that seemed to be lacking throughout his career, is that he tires out about the 7th minute mark of the fight. Paul Felder, a notorious, workman-like fighter, never really tires out in any of the rounds that he fights, 3-rounder, 5-rounder, whatever it may be.
Always beware the Fighting Irish. Always beware.
And Philly fighters, man, you don't fuck with them. Paul Felder throwing a bunch of shots here in the first, I would say, minute of the round.
Really
Nothing
well with
landed.
that jab.
We hit the leg kicks, the teep kick, and the jab has been working to keep Mike Perry off of Felder for a majority of the fight. Left hand from Perry lands as he goes in and gets a single leg takedown.
And
he gets it. Probably put a lot of energy into that. Mike Perry trying to go and take the back. Felder gets up. Both guys against the cage right now. Joe Rogan is saying on the commentary team that he thinks Paul Felder's right hand is broken. I believe that's what he's saying. Keep an eye out for that. Just waiting to see if he throws it, basically. Hasn't been throwing it, really.
Might explain why he hasn't followed up with that jab.
Oh, right hand right there from Paul Felder lands.
Right on the chin.
Paul Felder moving around. It looks like Mike Perry's finally slowing down a little bit. Looks a little bit flat-footed. Maybe he's waiting to counter Paul Felder. Spinning back kick misses. Georgie Porter saying this shit is going the distance. No killer instincts from these guys tonight.
Good jab.
I can see it going the distance, Georgie. I see what you're saying about that.
If it keeps going at this pace, it's definitely going the distance.
Yes.
There's no overlooking that.
Yeah, but at this output.
And if his hand is broken, then there's probably not going to be a good finish.
I think both guys are kind of pretty tough too. I think if it's due to a finish, it's from a accumulation / exhaustion more than anything.
Yeah, definitely.
And neither of those things are happening right now. But Paul Felder is just slightly outstriking him, putting in more work.
He's pretty much controlling this round at this point.
Yeah, controlling the pace, the distance.
2 minutes to go into the second round.
Controlling the real estate of the fight, where it's taking place. He's just too skilled for Mike Perry. It is that simple. This was a bad matchup for Mike Perry to begin with. The Yancy Medeiros fight was a bad matchup, but at least that was a closer matchup. Paul Felder's kickboxing ability is legit. Ooh, good step in, standing elbow from Paul Felder. As Mike Perry went for a right hand to the body. Paul Felder just bouncing around on the outside.
Yeah, he's making it a clinic. It looks like a clinic. 1-2s, jabs.
Leg kick. Oh, left hand from Mike Perry. That
cuts him on the eye. Cuts him right on the edge of the eye.
Wow. Cut him bad, too. Paul Felder is gushing blood right now. Kind of rocked him a little bit, it looked like maybe.
Maybe changes the face of the fight. We'll see if he can capitalize on that.
Do you know how much time was left in the round?
I think it looked like it was about maybe $1.50.
About 2 minutes left. Nasty cut. Oh, look at the mouse on his head right now. Do you see it?
Ooh, that looks bad, and it's just coming.
Wow, that was from a single shot.
A left hook right on the edge.
One left hook puts a fucking, at least a golf ball size fucking knot on Paul Felder's head, his forehead, and a huge cut over his right eye.
Gushing, streaming blood right now.
Ooh.
And the fight resumes.
Yep, along the cage as
1
Mark
minute to
Goddard
go.
reset them in the same position. Bad cut. Bad swelling on his head. Ooh, great elbow to the same spot from Mike Perry. Mike Perry takes the back of Paul Felder, about to go for a takedown. Let's see if Paul Felder can get up again as easily as he did last time. Wow, that cut is really bad.
Oh, man.
It is definitely obstructing his vision. There's no way
They could easily
around
stop
that.
this in between fights, I think. That's a really, really nasty cut right there.
Oh, Paul Felder gets out, gets caught with a huge right hand, maybe a couple of huge right hands from Mike Perry. Mike Perry has changed the entire complexion of this fight right now.
And on just a single shot, too. And that is the end of the second round, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, that's a tough one to score because, 4 minutes of that round?
Yeah, well,
Paul
Paul
Felder's in control, winning it.
Was it enough to steal the round with that minute to go?
I don't know. I am going to give it to Mike Perry, though. I think he did more in that 1 minute than the combined 4 minutes before from Paul Felder.
Yeah, and it's going to have an impression on the judges, too.
Yes.
You just cannot.
Going into this third and final round between Paul Felder and Mike Perry, complete change. One single left hook obliterates basically the right side of Paul Felder's face. Golf ball size knot on his forehead. Huge cut above the right eye, bleeding everywhere. His cutmen are going to have a very difficult time trying to stop that. 5 more minutes left in the fight. 1 more round. Can Mike Perry keep that up, keep the pressure up? Because he had Paul Felder worried there. He did. Paul Felder did not look like he was comfortable. You know, that all that ease he was having in the first 4 minutes was gone. I definitely think Paul Felder should be worried right here, or at least his team should be worried. Maybe he shouldn't be as the fighter, but his team is probably worried right now. Third round beginning.
Goes for another hook to the same spot.
Mike Perry goes for 2 big hooks, lands one of them.
Good uppercut on the inside.
Good elbow, too, from Paul Felder. Paul Felder circling around, trying to establish some distance, some range. Work his flow. That cut is bleeding bad, though. It doesn't look that big, though. That's the funny part, man. It's just a bleeder.
And it's a bleeder, and it's spreading.
For those that are just jumping in, hit that like button, subscribe to the show, go to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to support the movement. Follow us on all platforms and listen to the podcasts wherever podcasts are found. iTunes, SoundCloud, Spreaker, soon to be Spotify and iHeartRadio, and Podcast Addict. So go subscribe. About 4 minutes left in the final round of Paul Felder versus Mike Perry. Paul Felder, again, just being the better striker, I would say, but we don't know if he's about to get caught with something. A little more suspense in this final round.
Oh, yeah, he's got a big old target.
Ooh, good
on
step
his head.
in knee. I mean, not knee, elbow from Paul Felder. Spinning back into the body, lands perfectly on the liver of Mike Perry. Hands of Stone, still talking about that fucking Anatomy of Boxing channel. You want to hear the comparison he had? This is going to be funny, Santiago. So it's like being a boxing fan and not knowing what IFL TV is. No, IFL TV is like in comparison to MMA, it's like an MMA junkie. Or, I mean, it's not MMAfighting.com and what they do and what they put out, but it's right behind that. Come on, man. IFL TV is one of the best, like, brands and quote-unquote networks on the digital media sphere. About 2.5 minutes left, halfway mark in the final round.
Paul Felder, I think, is still controlling this round, but, man, is he starting to get coated.
Oh!
Ooh, nice.
God, what a right hand from Mike Perry. And Paul Felder just eats it like a champ. Damn. you know, they're probably gonna give it to Mike Perry.
I would not be surprised at this point.
The first round was close. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, we gave it a slight edge to Paul Felder too.
The second round,
Mike Perry most likely stole it.
This round, the better shots, the more significant shots, the more flashy shots are still being landed by Mike Perry. But yeah, moments like that. Clean 1-2 from Paul Felder lands. Good left hook. More like a shovel hook. He should have thrown that right hand there. Paul Felder had the lane completely open for that right hand.
And the perfect distance. Goes, pushes him against the cage.
Mike Perry trying to attempt a single leg takedown. Can he get it? If he gets this takedown with a minute and about 15 seconds left, takes the back of Paul Felder, but Paul Felder gets up. Mike Perry doing a pretty decent job of
controlling the back.
And just, I would say, like changing like the tone of the fight. Like he's definitely not allowing Paul Felder to just do his thing.
He's seizing his opportunity where he can get it right now.
Yeah, that final minute in the last round definitely did wonders for I think him confidence-wise.
This final minute right here is going to be the deciding factor of who wins this round. Both guys have done really well in the 2 minutes respectively.
4 minutes. 5 minute. 5 minute rounds.
2 minutes apiece.
I see what you're saying. About 30 seconds left in the final round. Ooh. Paul Felder lands a great 1-2. Misses the left hook, though, to fall with a 3. Right hand from Mike Perry lands. Ooh. Step in knee. Both guys start throwing with.
These guys are starting to brawl.
Yep.
These guys are brawling.
They know they have about 10 seconds left. Both guys landing great shots. Hooks, both. Paul Felder landing spinning back elbows. Some good step in knees. Round is over. Fight is over. Tough one to score, I think.
Fair to say maybe a swing round?
Yeah, though I think it is a string round.
That cut would really change the tone of the fight altogether.
Here's the thing. You could like the second round, for example, I think is a personification of this entire fight. Paul Felder, more skilled, worked more throughout, but the better moments came from Mike Perry.
Oh, yeah. And he sees those moments, too. Landing the punches on that cut, too, no less, just spreading that blood all over his body. It's going to leave an impression on judges as far as I'm concerned.
Really good fight. Good scrap. Nothing that's phenomenal. No fight of the year, but good scrap. Good back and forth. Competitive fight. But I will say this. Mike Perry showing some improvement from his last fight. That is good to see. For a guy that, for some reason, is getting a lot of push from the media and from the UFC, you sort of want him to start actually being a talented fighter at some point and not just a knockout brawler like he has been. And putting on a really good performance against Paul Felder, and I think Mike Perry is probably going to slightly edge it. That's going to be good. That's a saving fight for sort of his, not his career, but that fucking downward trend he was on. You know, losing 2 fights bad.
It'll be a great rebound if they give him the win.
The issues he's had outside of the UFC has not been good. Mike Perry needs a win here. He might have got it. J. Jason Triple G is there. Look at his Twitter. No, he is there. Yes. He was in the media room with the MMA media. I think he is a WME talent. I want to say there's a connection there. That WME represents Triple G. I want to say, and obviously WME owns the UFC. I want to say I could be wrong. Someone fact check me out there in the chat or something, but I want to say that's the easy connection as to why Triple G was there. 29-28 for Perry. 29-28 Felder. Mike Perry wins it via split decision, 2 29-28 scorecards, and 1 29-28 scorecard for Paul Felder. I'm not surprised by that. It's one of those where like it's it's just close.
It's just really close, and that last round really could have gone either way.
And plus the 10-9 scoring system in a 3-round fight, it's very difficult to really score those type of rounds.
And in a 5-round, 5-minute round, it's just going to be so much to try and process. But, kudos to Mike Perry, getting a win, coming back from, 2 losses. And hopefully he gets better from here.
Completely agree. Broken nose, it looks like, for Mike Perry. Yeah, that's a broken nose for sure. Right. Santiago, is that a broken nose?
If it isn't, then I never had a broken nose in the first place. I would know. I've had my nose broken before.
Yes, Mike Perry, great win. He needed this. Could be interesting to see where he goes from here. Now, I'll say this. Mike Perry, he needs the beard. When he shaves the beard, he looks weird.
Just one of those people, right?
Oh, yeah. Heading into the co-main event next, Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. Francis Ngannou coming off his first UFC loss against Stipe Miocic. And heading straight into a Derek Lewis fight. Derek Lewis, I think, on a 3-fight winning streak, a 4-fight winning streak. This is a very dangerous fight for obviously both men, but I think it's an extremely dangerous one for Francis Ngannou.
Especially coming off his first loss, too, no less. Championship fight, went the distance. Tough fight, What are your initial opinions on this?
I think that it's bad matchmaking. Like, you have a potential star like in Ngannou. Why throw him in there with the Derek Lewis who could definitely play spoiler? Like, even though Lewis doesn't have the striking skill that an Ngannou has, I think he's a better wrestler. I think he's a better grappler. I think he has better cardio. While he's not a better athlete, he has better cardio. I could see Derek Lewis surviving a very rough first round, very fun first round, and then making it ugly for the next 2 rounds, making it not fun for us as watchers, but winning those 2 rounds and winning the decision.
Yeah.
And that was my pick on Thursday's show. I don't see Ngannou winning anything other than a first round knockout. I don't.
It's probably just gonna be how he looks in the first round that really tells us the story of the fight from that point, because he gets him out at any point in that first round, it's to be expected at this point. He is a vicious puncher. But if you can get him out, it's just a matter of just making it an ugly fight at that point, It's not pretty, but it gets the job done, and it's something that works against, Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I mean, Stipe Miocic's win wasn't pretty. It was a lot of wrestling, 2 tired heavyweights, 2 exhausted heavyweights grappling. That's never fun to watch. Let's be completely honest here. But it can win rounds. It can win fights. I think Derek Lewis is just too much of a scrapper, too well-rounded, and too tough. Here's the thing. Francis Ngannou, you look at his run through the heavyweight division to Stipe. He faced guys like Andrei Arlovski, Alistair Overeem, guys who 99% of their finishes, their losses, I should say, are due to knockouts. Guys that are the Amir Khans of the heavyweight division. And it's heavyweight. So where do you count that? Same with Stipe. We're going to get into it, obviously, when we come to Stipe versus Daniel Cormier, but where do we rate Stipe's run at heavyweight when it's really against guys that are kind of chinny?
Not only that, but as I mentioned to you off air, in a division where the reigns have never been that long either.
No, I mean, you call it like the heavyweight curse. I think Randy Couture and Brock Lesnar were the initial record holders at, 2 title defenses or 3 title defenses?
Yeah, 3 being the new record.
And then Stipe comes in and gets 3. But again, it's 3 against a faded Junior Santos, who is completely shot, in my opinion. Alistair Overeem, who's shot and has no chin. and historically has never had a chin. And then you put him being shot on top of that. And then Ngannou, I'll give him. That is definitely a credible win because Ngannou is a prime heavyweight that is tough, durable, but he didn't have the grappling acumen. He was an expert just like every other heavyweight. All these heavyweights are experts. Alistair Overeem is a kickboxing Muay Thai expert that has no chin, even though he has really good grappling. I will give him that. But he is predominantly a kickboxing expert. You know, he's not going to out-grapple really Stipe Miocic, which we saw eventually. Even though he got Stipe in a close submission, Stipe out-grappled him eventually. We saw that because he was too much of an expert in one field. Fabricio Verdum, another guy that's an expert turned more well-rounded, so to speak. But he's still an expert in one art and one tradition. Daniel Cormier and both Stipe Miocic, both of them are not that. Both Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier are well-rounded, completely skilled and tooled MMA fighters.
And that's what makes it an intriguing matchup. We're not looking at people who are like, oh, he's a specialist in this or he's a specialist in that.
Yeah. Danny Chavez saying, are you going to show the fucking fight? But first off, watch your link. Okay, no profanity in here, you fucking idiot. Secondly, does it say anywhere that we're going to show the fight? Literally in the title and on the screen, it says live fight chat and immediate reaction. We're here to chat about the fight. So if you don't want to watch that, you don't have to. Not at all. We're not forcing you here. And plus, you know, copyright laws are sort of a thing. Danny, come on. What are you doing? Come on. If you don't know how to illegally watch fights, then what are you doing here? Ngannou. You know what's sad is that I think even with the loss here, he can still come back and become a heavyweight champion, I think.
Yeah, he's got the potential for it too.
I think it's just bad timing for this particular matchup. I think you needed to give Ngannou time to really...
He needed a rebound fight, if you ask me.
He needed a rebound fight, and he needed time to shore up his cardio and his wrestling. He needed time to work on that. You know, he's a guy that even though has brought in some really good international wrestlers, like in his home country, not his home country, but his adopted country of France, he still needs time. Wrestling and grappling, I think, could be wrong here. You may disagree. I think it takes a longer amount of time to become an expert grappler than it is an expert striker.
I would say so, personally.
Or at least I would say boxing. Maybe Muay Thai is equal because knees, elbows, there's a lot going on there. But boxing's a very stripped down sense of fighting. Grappling is difficult. Grappling is all over the place. And it's something that I think is not intuitive. Like some people just are born being able to throw hands and be able to knock people out. Like Ngannou looks like one of the people that was just born to box and knock people the fuck out. You know, you aren't born to be a grappler and a submission artist. You aren't born that. You have to be taught that. Could be wrong, my opinion. The Eric Lewis walking out now. Co-main event about to start any minute now. Let us know in the chat who you guys think will win in this co-main event. Will be Derek the Beast Lewis or the Predator Francis Ngannou. Two of the best heavyweights in the game right now. And then we're going to see the best heavyweight in the game right afterwards. Hopefully we don't get two really boring heavyweight fights.
One can always hope.
I'll turn off the stream if that happens. I will.
Oh, we probably won't even be paying attention at that point, too.
No, we won't. We'll be talking about something completely different, let's be honest.
And we won't miss much.
We won't. It's a heavyweight fight. If we miss something, they're going to replay it. Highlights.
Which is everything that happened in 5 minutes.
Oh, God, there's some really weird people in this chat. Jay Probably Jay knows exactly what I'm saying. There's some weird motherfuckers in this chat. Hands of Stone saying you also need to be taught how to throw a punch. No one is born knowing these skills. Again, I think it's easier to learn boxing than it is grappling. You may disagree because that's it's just an opinion. Like, I have no stats or data to back that up. So, it's okay, Hands of Stone. It's okay. John Gonzalez saying, who do you got, DC or Stipe? I got DC. I think Santiago has Stipe, right? Or no, you haven't picked it, huh?
No. I'm going for DC. I wanted to pick, Stipe, but, again, the heavyweight curse, I feel it's going to come back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah, you just that sort of musical chairs at the top of the heavyweight division will keep going on.
And on and on and on and on. And also, just think about it. It looks better if Daniel wins. It really does. Stipe extends the record of title defenses to 4.
I mean, I'll put it this way. If Stipe beats Daniel Cormier tonight, he definitely... I'm not going to say he is the best heavyweight of all time, but it's him and Fedor. Like, the Cain Velasquez fanboys that still hold on to what Cain Velasquez was back in the day, you got to let that go. You just do. I think Fedor's run in Pride against the prime versions of guys he fought, like Big Nog, Mirko Krokop, Kevin Randleman, I think the nostalgia of that would be hard to beat. Like, just like Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Like, LeBron James is in every way statistically proven to be a better all-around basketball player than Michael Jordan. But it does not matter. Michael Jordan will always be the GOAT. Fuck everyone. It is the way it is. Nostalgia will always rule. Same with, like, people thinking that, like, Babe Ruth is still the best baseball player of all time. It's like, it's not true, but you can think that. Nostalgia will always win out in the end of the day.
Just look at how look at the hype surrounding when his record was about to be broken. People were like, "No, don't break the record. He's the best."
Yeah, they were. I mean, that happens. But I think Stipe definitely, if he beats DC, he enters a realm of something else.
Imagine if he wins and actually starts a reign. That, I think, would be impressive.
Well, I mean, for the heavyweight division, he does have a reign, unfortunately.
Yes. But you know what I mean. And I know everybody in the chat probably knows what I mean by that, too.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't have a George St. Pierre-like reign yet. And there's really no one in the heavyweight division except for Fedor. But he was never in the UFC. But to be fair, when Pride was running its shit, their heavyweight division was far and away better than the UFC heavyweight division.
Just one of those things.
It's one of those things where in 20 years from now, no one will care about that because UFC won out. Like, Pride is Zune to the UFC's Apple and iTunes.
Yeah, it's just one of them facts of life that we gotta accept and live with.
Yeah, there's no MMA Hall of Fame. There's a UFC Hall of Fame. Unfortunately. Introduction's about to start between these two heavyweight giants.
Giants in every sense of the word, too.
Yeah,
Weight
6'3",
and height.
6'4", 250 plus.
263. Ooh, man. This is what Matt would consider super heavyweights, if anything.
Yo, I gotta shout this out. John Gonzalez, man. That's a true Harker right there. And old school fan. Oh, why did you retract that statement? Come on, John Gonzalez. That was a great statement. No, I'm not going to read it because you retracted it. But he said...
One of the more questionable decisions that we have
I
seen
think
tonight.
I think he just misspelled it, and that's why he retracted it. But he said Bas Rutten is the GOAT, and that's hilarious. That is good. Oh, he did. He did this. He wrote it again.
Yeah.
He wanted to spell it right. It's okay, John. We can
appreciate you.
We can pick up what you're saying. It's okay. Oscar Martinez saying Lou's going to make this fight ugly. Completely agree. Completely agree. Plaster Guy saying, what's up, Matt? What's up to you? Bomani. I just saw your chat. What's up, Bomani? Always a great supporter. Oscar Martinez, Victor King, Curtis Cooper, Martel, Vabich. What's up, guys? Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share the show. Sharing the show is key to hitting that 1,000 subscribers for the end of the month. Jay Farger saying, you're just used to seeing champions have 20 title defenses against bums like Triple G, Roy Jones, and them. I agree that the way boxing has run with their long title reigns, it's very weird to then go to MMA and be like, oh, 3 title defenses. UFC heavyweight record. You know, then you look at the heavyweight division in boxing, it's 25 title defenses.
Yeah, Demetrius Johnson, I think, holds the record right now at, what was it, 12?
Sure. I'm gonna forget the exact number, man. I'm sorry.
But he is the longest reigning champion in the UFC.
It's him.
That much you can acknowledge.
It is him. It's him, then Anderson. But Anderson still has... No, he's not tied for the most wins. That's right. He was at one point.
He was, but
He was. I remember those days. Those were good days as being an MMA fan. Back before Chris Weidman knocked him out. Oh, by the way, the first round started. It's 30 seconds into the round. Nothing's happened yet. As usual for a heavyweight fight till something does happen. Francis Ngannou taking the center of the cage. I do not like that. Derek Lewis, what are you doing? You're allowing Ngannou to sort of get his timing, get his pace, get his composure down. Not a good thing. Both guys just looking at each other. Not even throwing feints. Oh, there was one feint. Woohoo. This is one of those fights where it got so much hype, and I was thinking it shouldn't get this much hype.
And now you know why.
Oh!
And then it slows down for the rest of the round. You know,
body kick from Derek Lewis, and
followed
then
by a wild right hook that both
left
missed.
hook. It was a right hook, then a left hook because he's a southpaw.
But both missed.
Yeah, both missed, but they were fucking wild.
And then they slowed down again. Look at that.
George in the chat was something funny. That was a good one, George. I see. I'm not going to repeat that. Shout out to Derek Lewis throwing switch kicks, man. I didn't think he could do that. Derek Lewis with his back almost like against the cage, just circling around. I don't know why he is that close against the cage. He has nowhere to go if he needs to get out of there. About halfway left in the round. Nothing has happened. Santiago on his phone, not giving a fuck already. I see you, Santiago.
Yes, you do, but how much did I miss is the better question.
Front kick misses from Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis throwing some weird kicks right here, man. I'm shocked. I think he just wants Ngannou to...
They both are very tentative this first round.
Oh, you can tell. Yeah. It's Eric Cruz. What up, son of God? Seen you in the chat. Been a while. Miss you, man.
Look forward to seeing you again, buddy. Thank you for joining us tonight on this show.
Yes, make sure you hit that like button, share the show. Brandon Andre saying, going to answer my question or ... I didn't see a question. No, I just saw it, and you said, just got here. What you guys got? This is a live fight chat, immediate reaction. Where is that? Oh, no, it's this way. It's this way. It's over there. Yes, that's what it is. And what we do is in the name of the show. I know. Very difficult concept. Another good kick by Derek Lewis.
Lands on the body.
I'm shocked he's throwing these kicks. I'm not surprised Ngannou is not because he doesn't want to get taken down. That's what he's doing. But Ngannou's not throwing any hands right now. And again, maybe it could be a cardio thing. I mean, he just came from his first fight that went the distance. He had major cardio issues. He's probably
trying to pace himself, make sure that he can go the rounds without actually wearing himself out. And it's just slowing the fight down, really. I mean, Derek Lewis is not pressing the action whatsoever either. He's
left hook, right hook from Derek Lewis kind of lands.
One kind of lands, one partially lands. I don't know, but this fight has been this first round has been very slow.
Yes, it has not been a good first round. But great for Derek Lewis.
Oh yeah, he's definitely not worn himself out. If he ends up like looking tired in the second round from this, then his cardio's. Don't get me started, man.
Brandon saying, I said who, but I guess reading is a hard task also. It is a hard task when I'm trying to commentate on a fight, Brandon. And we've said Ngannou and Derek Lewis's name how many times, but I guess listening is a little bit hard too. I know. Round over. God.
And who do you have it
I don't care. I don't care at all. Give him a 10-10. 10-10 round. Fuck it. No, I might give it to Derek Lewis slightly.
I actually was gonna say I'll give it to Lewis just because he did
something. He did something.
He did something. So therefore he wins the round.
Ngannou threw 2 punches the entire round and missed them. And sorry, he threw 3. He threw a jab to the body that landed. Actually, I saw that, and threw 2 hooks that completely missed. At least Derek Lewis has landed some kicks to the body, landed that one right hand, sort of, kinda.
Just kind of did more really. For however much that's worth.
This is not a good fight so far. I think Ngannou is too worried about the cardio, and Derek Lewis is too worried about the power. And you have 2 very hesitant, trigger-shy fighters right now.
Gun-shy for damn sure.
That's the term, huh? It's gun-shy, not trigger-shy.
Gun-shy.
I knew I said it wrong, and I'm like, fuck it, man. No one's going to care. And you have to go and correct me, Santiago, you fucking asshole.
Hey, you should know better. Round 2 has started, and let's see if they do anything more than they did in the first round. Anything more.
Anything would be nice.
All right, he throws a
right hand?
Yes, a right hand.
You know what else would be nice? If you put the mic. There you go. Like, talk for a second. Just say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Doesn't it sound better in your headphones? It does, doesn't it? That was good. Neither guy doing anything, man. At least they're throwing some feints right now. That's nice.
It's a nice change of pace, isn't it?
Pittsburgh Brewer saying, I need a KO in this round. You should not bet on this fight, bro. You should have called me before or listened to
you've missed out on at least 2 good fights.
I would have bet on the decision heavy on this fight. Heavy. I bet there was plus odds for that too, Bruce. Ngannou has feasted off of chinny guys. Come on, man. Fighter IQ saying Lewis has Francis gunshot. I don't think it's gunshot. I think he's just worried about the cardio. Like I don't think he's really worried about the power per se. I think he's worried about the cardio. Yeah, I could be wrong. I mean,
no. And I because his 2 losses have been by decision. He's not been knocked out. Mm-hmm. Has he at all been seriously hurt in any of his fights?
He got rocked a little bit with Stipe. You know, but I mean, never like a weak chin. Like, you know, I would say he showed that he was durable. In fact, against Stipe, he showed that he could take a shot.
And what are the statistics on Derek Lewis? Chin, tough.
I think all of his losses are by decision.
All of his losses. Oh, so you got 2 tough son of bitches in here then.
Yeah. And I don't think I've ever seen Derek Lewis actually get rocked. I could be wrong about that.
Ngannou would definitely be the guy to test that chin in that case, but he's just so damn gun shy. Derek Lewis does not have any sense of urgency whatsoever. It's been like already 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes.
We're halfway through the second round. Kick by Derek Lewis does nothing. Look how much Derek Lewis is sweating, man, and they've done nothing.
He's thrown a total of like what, maybe 8 strikes this entire fight.
Brandon saying, so yet again, I'll ask my simple question: who do you predict will win? Are you talking about this fight or the main event, Brandon? Talking about the main event, I think we're both picking Daniel Cormier. Slightly. Wow, is this is a great co-main event here, Santiago. This is exactly what I said it could be. No, actually, this is worse than my hypothetical of what this fight could be, where Derek Lewis was going to get hurt in the first round, right? Have a rough first round because Francis was going to land shots.
Scenarios were hands down
and then make it an ugly clinch fest. I'd rather have that.
This was the lazy man's version of what they thought was going to happen for the fight, and it's exactly what's
Where
happening.
they just stare at each other for 15 minutes.
Exactly.
My favorite version, man. Amazing.
Doesn't it get your heart pumping?
Fight IQ is saying, is this the ESPN main event tonight? Yo, does ESPN even have a main event tonight? Did they keep doing the card?
They kept the card. Aegis Kavalaskas won the fight.
Yo, Herb Dean actually stopping the fight going like, yo, you guys
gotta do something. Even I'm not gonna have any shit with this, is at least my rough interpretation of what he's saying. I am not paying attention.
John Gonzalez saying, you look like Errol Hawani, bro. Just had to put that out there. That's fucking hilarious. John, I'll give you air horns for that.
Hey.
I at least have hair under this hat.
Hey, Matt.
Ariel does not.
Matt, you want to know something?
What?
There's been more activity in the chat than there has been in the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we saw some kind of like lackluster prelims, but they're all drastically different than this. But I mean, now they're both sort of doing something because Herb Dean.
They've both finally warmed up after like what?
What a ref told them to actually fight.
Yeah.
When the ref tells you, "Hey guys, like
do something,"
you guys are actually here to fight. I don't know if you guys knew this.
Like that's why
that was in the contract. Maybe you guys should have read it.
That's what this event was about. That's what we pay you for.
Oh, John, I can't allow that hilarious joke to fly under the table, saying this fight is just like Kimbo versus Dada 5000. First off, that is disrespectful. Nothing is as bad as that fight. Nothing will ever be as bad as that fight. Think about it. They both got heart attacks in that fucking cage because they were that old, that tired, that exhausted, and it was that bad. Nothing is that bad as Dada versus Kimbo. R.I.P. Kimbo Slice, forever, never forget. But still, who? So now I'm wondering, do they potentially save this with like a Frank Mir, Mirko Krokop like finish? I know you don't know the reference, but Frank Mir, Mirko Krokop.
Did it follow the same scenario?
I mean, the worst 14 and a half minutes of your entire life. Like, I've gone back and watched that fight and just skipped it every time. Like, I'll just skip it to the final 30 seconds of the fight where Frank Mir knocks out Mirko Krokop with a brutal finish. It's sort of like that.
You know that any highlight reel that's longer than 30 seconds for that fight was not worth it.
Yes, exactly. Shout out to another good joke in the chat. Curtis Cooper saying, this makes AJ versus Parker look like an action fight. You guys are ruthless, man. I just want to say that. I thought I was mean.
Shout out to the chat, man.
Shout
Showing their
the chat
support
always.
and their love. Don't forget to like the video and keep supporting. Sign up for Patreon because this man works hard to give us the content and they...
Yes, daily show now. Daily show. 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, Monday through Friday. Obviously, Saturday, like today, live fight chats and media reactions. And tomorrow, our Patreon-only podcast, Championship Rounds. You can find that, obviously, on patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Final round of Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. Thank the Lords. We're here. Let's hope something happens. Or, at the very least, we know that's 5 minutes away from being over. Oh, who do you think won the second round?
I don't even know.
I don't know either, man. Again, 10-9 to Derek Lewis, sure.
Yeah.
10-10, I don't care.
I mean, both guys finally did something after Herb Dean told them, but shit.
Will Duke saying, do you think Conor will fight Khabib? Nope, not next. Will they? Yeah, they definitely will fight, but not next. It won't happen next. If Conor legitimately got stripped of the belt, he has no obligation to fight Khabib first. Go collect that Nate Diaz check. That's what I would do. Brandon saying, yes, that's a money fight. Well, I mean, Khabib's a money fight, sure, if you think that, but Nate Diaz is a real money fight.
And who doesn't love a trilogy?
Who doesn't love a trilogy? Especially since that second fight was very close, and everyone forgets how close that second fight was. So every once in a while, I can hear the commentary team, right? And I just hear Joe Rogan saying, this is terrible. Just like that, with that cadence. When your literal employee commentators are saying, this fight's awful, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, you know the fight isn't good. Yo, Fighter IQ saying should have had Mike Perry fight on replay. Or throw the Daniel Hooker fight in there. Fuck it, man. That was a great knockout against Gilbert Burns. If you haven't seen that because it was on the UFC Fight Pass prelims, go check out the Dan Hooker versus Gilbert Burns fight. Fantastic coming out performance for Daniel Hooker. He needs to fight someone in the top 10 next. He belongs in the top 10 lightweight. And that's saying something since it's fucking lightweight, let's be honest. About 2.5 minutes, halfway mark of the final round between Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis. This is your live fight chat edition. Immediate reaction to UFC 226, Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic, or should I say Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the show, and follow us on patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to support your favorite channel.
I want smoke!
No, they don't. They do not want that smoke, obviously.
Just look how much he sweated in this entire...
Oh! Good right hand from Derek Lewis. That was probably the most significant punch or strike of the entire fight. And it was still insignificant. Right? Like, it did nothing.
It did nothing.
He needed at least 20 of those.
It had the makings of a moment, and the moment went that fast.
It had the makings of a moment. Oh, that's so bad.
Like, you heard them just perk up when they...
Yo, everyone in the audience was like, yes, finally. And they're like, oh, nope. Damn it.
It's that soundbite. It's like,
Oh, God. What is happening here?
This is going to be the weirdest decision ever.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Rogan, man. He's completely right on that one.
He's got the sound bites tonight.
He's always had the sound bites. Let's be honest.
Dude, we haven't had to do much color commentary for this fight because they haven't done shit.
Roundhouse kick from Francis Ngannou completely gets slipped by Derek Lewis. Again, makings of a moment. Still no moment. Less than a minute left in the round.
And the crowd is cheering because they're just happy to know this is almost over.
Wait, hold on. This fight doesn't matter anymore. Bomani. I agree.
I want smoke.
I agree. Diaz did win that second fight. You know, it all depends on that first round, whether you scored it 10-8 or not. Derek Lewis doing something.
Maybe this is what gets him the fight overall.
He will. I think he will win.
He probably wins this.
Ngannou has done
absolutely nothing.
Derek Lewis has done nothing, but like you said, Francis Ngannou has done absolutely nothing. Like, he hasn't landed a significant strike in the entire 15 minutes.
This is what you call a horrendous loss because, like, he didn't even get hurt. He just didn't do shit.
This was really bad.
Like, there were many ways we thought that Francis Ngannou was going to lose this fight. This is probably not one of them.
Or different ways we thought this fight could be bad and unentertaining, and this was still not one of them. Where they wanted to counter-strike the entire fight and just looked at each other.
Like I told you, this was the lazy man's version of what they thought the fight was going to play out as, and it's exactly what we got.
The crowd is not happy, man.
No shit, they're not happy,
This
man.
is hilarious.
Especially the people that paid top money to come see this shit.
Fighter IQ, a.k.a. Ron, saying hype train on Francis is derailed. I kind of agree with that. Bomani saying, what do you think about that new kid, Dwight Grant? No real thoughts on him, to be honest. Not yet. Yo, Ron, don't even say that. Don't. Bring on Greg Hardy. I'm good, fam. I'm real good on that shit. I just want to point out that heavyweight MMA can be great, ladies and gentlemen. Go watch Fedor Emelianenko versus Mirko Cro Cop. Just do that. This is not one of those fights, though. Two 29-28 scorecards, 130-27. for Derek Lewis by unanimous decision. Not surprised. Francis Ngannou now has 2 losses in a row in the UFC in a very bad matchup, which I said from the very beginning was not the right fight to make for either guy. So yeah, no interview for Derek Lewis, it seems.
What are they gonna interview him about? Like, seriously?
Oh my God, that was too good, man. That was too good. But yes,
We are
do you agree with the decision, everyone? Do you care about the decision? Maybe that's
none of us do. I know everybody right now just wants to go straight to
the main event. It's the champion versus champion matchup.
The super fight.
Even though we have John Jones just looming in the background, making it not as big as it is, unfortunately. But it is what it is. Still a great fight.
Yeah, and I believe Daniel Cormier is actually 13-0 as a heavyweight, right?
Yes, 13-0. Yep. Obviously was the Strikeforce heavyweight Grand Prix winner, beat Josh Barnett in the finals, and then ended up beating Frank Mir and Roy Nelson before dropping down to light heavyweight, and obviously having his light heavyweight career, which he did because his teammate Cain Velasquez was, at the time, I want to say, heavyweight champion of the world. So obviously, he wasn't going to fight his best friend and teammate. John Gonzalez saying Hoist Gracie versus Ken Shamrock, best fight ever. Stop. Come on. Good fight. Foundational fight, but best fight ever? Come on. Let's be honest. TJ stole everything from me. Oh, Cody's getting in the bag right now, getting in his emotions. I can feel it. I can feel it from Cody Garbrandt in this promo right now for UFC 227.
Emotional. Why you emotional?
Ah. Poor Cody, man. He had the entire UFC pushing him, and he gets knocked out fucking cold by TJ Dillashaw.
You held him in high regard, too. You recommended him to me when I was first getting into this with you.
I want to say, I forget who I picked in this matchup. Like the first one, I forget who. But that final picture, I don't know if you know the picture I'm talking about, of after Cody Garbrandt's knocked out, he's standing up, still dazed, and Dillashaw's in his face screaming. And it's one of the most iconic pictures, I think, in MMA history, or at least it should be. It is that good.
This is one of those things that's going to be.
Yeah, and I think this rivalry we have right here is fantastic between Cody and TJ. Even though I really wanted the Dominic Cruz rematch with TJ Dillashaw first.
We saw the commercial.
Great Toyota tires commercial. Oh, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar in the crowd. You know what that means. That means every writer in MMA is going to be writing, is Brock Lesnar coming back to the UFC over the next 3 days? And it's going to be great. I'm not going to read any of those articles.
We're going to get a lot of questions about those articles.
But Monty's saying about Dwight Grant, saying, I train with the guy, watch out for him. I will, Bravani. Send me some links via social media or something like that. So I can see, check him out. See, is he in the UFC already? I don't know. The person in the chat, I'm not going to try to pronounce your name. I apologize. But you said Ngannou looked confused. He looked like he didn't know what he wanted to do in there.
Yeah, he looked over concerned about things that just hampered his ability.
He had no game plan. It looked like he was purely in there to just pace himself and make sure that his cardio was intact.
And it did nothing.
And he did nothing. It was really unfortunate. Same person in the chat. I'm gonna try to pronounce the name. Adisokin. Let me try. I hope that's right. If it's wrong, I deeply apologize. Saying he must have been injured or something. I don't think that. I think this is what happens when you have a supreme talent like Ngannou being rushed back in there with a top 10 opponent that's dangerous like Derek Lewis off of his first UFC loss. It was bad matchmaking, bad promoting.
And it turned into a really, really horrendous fight.
I mean, you should have thrown him in there with... Obviously, he beat this guy already, but like an Andrei Arlovski type. A guy that is sort of known, but has a sort of weak chin or some weaknesses. and you give him a tune-up. I mean, there's a reason you call it tune-up. Fighter IQ saying, man, DC and Stipe have a hard act to follow. Yeah. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. Jonathan Vicklin saying, you're so far behind, Matt. How come? Maybe because I'm watching it on the UFC TV app. You know, it's always like at least like in a minute delay or something like that. Always hit the pause button. You know, play in like a minute. Brandon's saying, I just want to ask, are you ignoring my comments for some reason? I mean, I've commented multiple times. No, there's a lot of people commenting, and I'm trying to watch the fight, read off some comments.
He's not Homer, people. He can't move one eye individually from the other, okay? If he had that talent, he would be incredible.
Like right now, there's no fight on, so I can just read the chat.
It's nothing but promos, man. That's why he's able to.
I'm not going to watch the promos, man. Fuck the promos. I think the promos haven't been good forever, man. But to be fair, UFC promos are still levels above boxing promos.
This was better than what we just saw.
Yeah, that's true. I will give you that. This promo is absolutely more entertaining than the fight we just saw. Definitely. Curtis saying you can't erase our memories of John Jones busting Cormier up. I agree. I mean, that sticks in the head. That head kick knockout basically he had over Daniel Cormier in the second fight. It's just hard. It's really hard to take that away. That's why I think this fight, while being a great fight on paper, doesn't seem to have the same sort of, I don't know, vibe, I don't know, aurora around it. I don't know what's the right word, sensation around it, but there's a lack of emotion with this fight for some reason, even though this matchup's great on paper. This is a champion versus champion matchup. If Stipe wins this, he makes a huge claim. He's the best heavyweight of all time. If DC wins this, I think it does show that maybe in a fight up with John Jones, he can do better. I don't think he beats John Jones because I think John Jones is just the greatest of all time. And again, you can be the second best of all time, but just happen to be born in the generation of the first and in the best, the GOAT. You know, a Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. You know, whatever it may be, the Pacquiao to Mayweather. You know, you can be one of the best ever, but happen to be born in the generation of the best. Sky Sports do have decent boxing promos from Fighter IQ. Definitely agree with that. They put money into it, you can tell. But I mean, if you've been watching combat sports as a whole, you know that Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn and Matchroom have definitely taken a lot of things from the UFC. A lot of cues, a lot of ins and outs of the promoting game from the UFC. I don't blame them. I'm just saying, like, that is why they've taken a lot from that. Jonathan saying John Jones screwed his legacy so bad, don't matter what he does no more. I don't care. Because the PDs, really? Like, come on. Everyone's on steroids. You want me to play the soundbite? Do I need to play the soundbite? I will.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Everyone. It's okay. Like, and think about, like, some of the best of all time, like a Fedor, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz in the past, like Mark Coleman, Randy Couture way back in the day. You think they weren't? You don't think any of them used? Come on. Come on, though. DC hyped up. Really hyped up. What do you think? Any last-minute predictions on the fight, Santiago?
I'm pretty much sticking to my pick that DC probably gets the win, becomes the second person to be a simultaneous champion after Conor McGregor, the 5th overall to move up in weight and be a champion. Like I said, I just have a very uneasy feeling about that heavyweight curse.
Yeah, but that could just be like how like the human mind like plays on numerology. Like our minds get stuck on like number patterns that aren't necessarily there. Like there have been studies behind that. I haven't read the studies, but I've read the headlines of the studies.
You read the headlines of the studies. Right?
Well,
yeah, what are your final or last minute
I'll put it this way. It is a 50-50 fight to me. It really is. Because I think Stipe and Daniel Cormier's game are relatively similar. Like, what they do is relatively the same. Like, their boxing is very similar in their style and their punch selection. Their output in terms of their volume is relatively the same. Like, if you watch their fight side by side, it looks like the same person fighting.
Almost like carbon copies.
It really does. And the real difference you have is a naturally bigger guy in Stipe. You really do. Even though Daniel Cormier came in at a higher weight, the naturally bigger guy is still Stipe Miocic, obviously.
Stipe is the natural heavyweight.
He's just a leaner, bigger guy.
Yeah.
While Daniel Cormier is a little bit overweight right now, obviously. You know, he got a little gut right there. He's all about the chicken and the cake, you know?
That Popeye's chicken.
That Popeye's chicken, man.
Even Derek Lewis had to bring it up.
I mean, yeah, he had to, okay? Because that commercial was something, man. But the one thing I keep falling back on is the grappling. I think grappling is always a huge fundamental aspect of this game, obviously. For a long time, wrestlers ran MMA. They had their era, so to speak. If you look at the grappling, I think DC edges him in the grappling department. Now, can Stipe have enough skill in the grappling department to really, let's say, get back quickly to his feet? So therefore, negating most of the offensive wrestling of Daniel Cormier potentially. And that's where it's really concerning.
So do you feel that this is a battle of Stipe keeping it standing?
Yes,
versus
absolutely. Absolutely. I think Stipe will do better standing, even though I think DC has some really good boxing in the building. DC is really good in the clinch and dirty boxing. I mean, neither guy is the most active guy from range, but Stipe is a little bit more active from range, I would say. But DC is, I mean, exponentially more active in the pocket and in tight quarters than Stipe Miocic. The amount of combinations he throws when he's in the clinch is truly impressive, and I wish everyone in MMA would watch Daniel Cormier fights and how he fights in the clinch, because it is James Toney-esque. The way he can slip shots, throw the uppercut in there, it is that ilk.
He's the fighter to show young up-and-coming fighters.
That sort of, you know, slipping style, that rolling style with the shots and how you can just, you know, get the uppercuts in there. Stipe, I think, overextends himself. I think he leaves himself open, leaves himself a little bit wide at times, can get caught. We've seen him get caught. We've seen him get finished. Same with DC. I will give him that. But I think DC is just a little bit better, marginally better in some key categories like the clinch, like the grappling, like the wrestling. I think that's going to be the deciding factors. But as we've seen in combat sports, X factors play a huge part. Age, momentum, height, weight, those do play factors into the fight. And Stipe's X factors are all on his side, basically. He has more momentum right now. He's more of his prime. Daniel Cormier is admittedly close to the end of his career. He says he has like 2 years left.
He's made it clear his intentions that he's on his way out and who he wants to fight. Stipe being one of the people he listed.
And while Stipe to me just seems like he's in the middle of something, whether that be the best heavyweight of all time career, I don't know what it is, but he's in the middle of it still. That's what it seems like. Momentum is a little bit more on his side. I think beating Francis Ngannou, a guy that I think led to a lot of doubt before that fight to Stipe. A lot of people started doubting Stipe.
You think it establishes him?
I think, if not only to other people, to himself. I think you're going to start seeing Stipe have more self-belief, even though self-belief has never been an issue for him.
Maybe he's more assured of his abilities.
I think it definitely is a case of that. So I've keep going back and forth. I can see Stipe coming in there and just being the bigger, sort of younger version of DC and putting it together a little bit better. But then I see DC just outskilling, outworking, doing a little bit better in those key aspects of the fight than the Stipe. But it's close. It is 100% close. I don't blame anyone out there that picks Stipe or DC. It's a toss-up fight. Definitely let me know in the comment section who you guys think is going to win, because it's close. It's as close to a pick'em fight as you can get. If not, it's a fucking pick'em fight. Machine Gun Kelly in the audience, always a constant for Stipe Miocic walkout music. Not really the biggest fan of Machine Gun Kelly. Of all the white rappers, he's not on my list of ones I need to listen to. Both guys in the cage now after the walkouts.
Tape. And you got some very, very strong discrepancies right there. 6'4", 5'11", 80, 72.
You know what some other discrepancies? How far away that mic is from your face. Oh! You know what I really need? I need that, like, I need that. I need that soundbite bad. That's the next one I get. But in the meantime.
It's a work in progress, ladies and gentlemen. He'll get there with the better sound bites.
Hey. Oh, you turned that on me? Fuck you, man.
That's what you call rolling with the punch, my friend.
Good one. I see a lot of picks for DC. I see a couple for Stipe, but I see the majority of people picking basically DC. I'm kind of shocked by that the fan base is really doing that. But Monty saying DC is literally the second best fighter ever. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that. I definitely am one of those people that will argue that DC deserves to be talked about forever. I mean, he is, unfortunately, like we've said countless times, and I will keep saying it, the second best fighter born in the generation of the first best fighter. Happens. But thank God we're off of that co-main event. There's no way this can be that bad, right? Right?
Why do you need to jinx these things?
I don't know, man. Just
smoke, man. I don't think you've had enough weed. I think that's the problem.
I mean, that is usually always the case.
You know what? Did you at all smoke during that fight?
No.
Maybe that's why you stayed conscious.
No, I didn't smoke at all. You know what? Now that I'm on my MCR shit, I've smoked way less on shows. I've noticed that. Mainly because I'm doing a lot more, to be fair. It's not like I had a full panel like in TBV where I had like 4 people talking. You know? But that is kind of like a bummer.
It's the strangest way to have.
Yeah, I heavy smoke before the show, but we're what? How many hours into the show already?
Shit, I don't even know if you smoked your usual.
We're 2 hours. We're 2 hours into the live stream. Man, shout out to us, man. Throwback live streams for us. I mean, it's not a true throwback because we used to do like 5 and 6 hour ones.
I remember that one time we did a dual event.
That was fun.
That was
really fun.
I covered the boxing. You
I covered the
UFC.
That was really fun. We should bring that back.
I would love to, man. I'm always down for that. Those would be the greatest.
Yeah, but I mean, when's the next one that we have that's like a dual card that's good?
That's a good question. We gotta check the schedules.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I cannot do a live fight chat for the Garcia Easter fight because I will be there live.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Anybody who's gonna be at Staples that day, feel free to look for me. I'll be there.
Yo, Bomani saying, I'm not watching the fight and I'm smoking, Matt. Come on, fam. Yo. I'm sorry. Those are shots to me. I'm sorry, guys. Fight is about to start. Let me take a rip of this good THC oil right here.
Oh, take a good
one. I'm going to need to. Because if this is another heavyweight fight, man, and I hate the heavyweight division with a pat. That's rude. I shouldn't be saying that. It's just not my favorite division. Whether it be boxing, MMA, whatever, it's usually the most unathletic guys in the sport, most untalented guys in the sport. Just saying. Shout out to everyone in the chat. A lot of familiar faces, all the new faces. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. This is a daily podcast, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Live fight chats every Saturday. Sunday is our Patreon-only show. Patreon-only. Patreon.com/MixedCombatRadio. But yeah, 1,000 subscribers before the end of the month. So subscribe, share the show, join the movement, and you can follow us on all these platforms right below. And even email me if you want to email me and talk some shit. Round 1 starting. Let's go.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
I'm hyped, as you can see. I didn't even take a rip yet. This is Sober Matt. Sober Matt's fun.
Sober Matt is enjoyable, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Drunk Matt's a pain in the ass.
Not worse than me.
No, you're the worst drunk person I know.
I don't know, because I black out.
See the uppercut right there from DC? He needs to keep throwing that.
This is way more than we saw in the last fight.
Oh, it's instantaneously more. This first minute is already more punches thrown than the entire fight of Derek Lewis
more
versus Francis
movement,
Ngannou.
more kicking, more punching.
Both guys are trying to sort of get their game going. Neither guy really landing anything of note. Stipe throwing some good 1-2s, but missing most of the shots. Stipe trying to drag him down for a takedown right now. I'm shocked he's trying to engage in the wrestling. Has DC stuck up against the cage, sort of being the bigger man in there and posing on the quote-unquote smaller man, even though obviously DC came in a little bit bigger. Both guys clinched up against the fence. DC needs to get rid of that wrist control that Stipe has on the right hand of DC. Get out of that underhook that Stipe has and disengage.
Nice.
He cannot stay up here against the cage and let Stipe impose his will on him. Stipe out-wrestling DC in the first round. Complete shocker to me right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we literally just discussed it that we thought that.
Oh, good knee on the exit there from the clinch from Stipe.
Ooh.
Another 1-2. DC shakes his head, but I think that kind of was one of those.
Good jab by Daniel.
Was one of those. Let me just shake my head so I act like it didn't bother me.
Another 1-2 by Stipe Miocic.
DC does not look comfortable in there right now.
No, he definitely looks like a smaller fighter against the bigger fighter right there.
I mean, Stipe is just doing everything right now.
Nice knee to the head by Stipe Miocic.
DC trying to fight for wrist control standing, and I don't know what he's trying to do.
Yeah, it seems really weird what he's trying to accomplish right here. Like, he's too close, so he's definitely like just within hitting range for Stipe Miocic right now.
He doesn't know what he wants to do, I think. The size difference is just very apparent. Oh, 1-2s by Stipe. Another 1-2. Stipe, I mean, doing excellent right now.
Yeah, great striking by Stipe Miocic right now.
1-2 by DC lands. He needed that. The reach and the height of Stipe, or the advantages of them, I should say, definitely has DC a little bit bothered.
Oh, what just happened?
Eye poke.
With his foot, I guess?
I think maybe he had his hand outstretched, and then he brought it down, and as he brought it down, he swiped and then kicked, but the eye poke was already happening, I think. Possible, I don't know.
I think you probably have a little blood there, too, actually. Let's see.
Oh, yep. Yeah, he just fucking...
He just flicked it at him.
It's like, yeah! Eye poke. Captain Insano has no mercy.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
DC needs to watch out for those fucking fingers outstretched. You can get deducted a point. Good leg kick by Stipe. DC looks, I mean, thick. Pause, but I mean, he does not look like he's in shape, man.
He does not look like he's ready for this fight.
No.
I mean,
good combination there from DC.
Yeah, good combination, but you could see the big contrast. Just oh, holy shit!
DC knocked out Stipe Miocic with a brutal combination. Fight is over. And holy shit!
It was sudden. It was quick.
Wow! Stipe cannot believe he pushed Mark Goddard away.
That heavyweight curse, man, I just told you.
Wow! I need to see a replay of that.
Look how elated
Wow.
DC looks right now. He just made history as the second
first round knockout for Daniel Cormier over Stipe Miocic. Fantastic knockout in a fight that he was losing and looking bad in throughout, and it looked like he was gonna be struggling throughout. Comes out of nowhere.
Drops.
Dual champion now and the new
heavyweight champion.
Wow.
Of the world. The 5th overall fighter.
Right hand on the inside, drop Stipe, land 3 hard ground and pound shots. Stipe is out. That was a great stoppage. Boom. I told you the clinch. I told you the dirty box in the clinch was gonna be could be a deciding factor.
And it's
Stipe leaves himself wide open. He leaves himself outstretched, overextended. He can be caught. Exactly what could happen, and it did happen. Wow. He was winning the fight, too.
Yeah, I was going to score that round for Miocic.
Oh, God. What a compact right hand on the inside.
It is a thing of beauty, man. And, you know, that's the Viking for you. You know, it's a theater of the unexpected.
Wow. Oh, my God, ladies and gentlemen. DC is just at a shock of words right now. Embracing his team. I bet even they could not have expected that. Wow.
Not the fashion. Definitely not in the fashion.
Let me know in the chat what you think of that.
Your immediate reactions.
I saw a lot of holy shit, OMG, damn, with a bunch of exclamation points. I don't know if you're just talking about the Kendrick Lamar album or not. Great point from Rocky Top, and he still lost to John Bones twice.
See, that's how you know.
And I know you may be thinking like, ah, ha, ha, DC. But no, like, that shows you at the level we're talking about that these two competitors are at.
Yeah.
John Jones and DC. They are the Ali and Frazier of their generation. They are 2 of the best ever. Wow.
It just happens that one is a GOAT and one is the second best. Shout out to Daniel Cormier on this impressive win.
Amazing. That was... I'm literally at a shock of words. Like, that was... I was getting to the point where I was about to say, it looks like I should have changed my pick. Like, it looks like Stipe is going to actually maybe
I
finish.
thought I was going to eat
DC,
crow right now. I literally thought I was going to eat crow right now.
DC looked...
awful.
Awful, awkward, anxious. Looked like he really didn't have a game plan. And then boom, out of nowhere. Wow. Salute to Daniel Cormier. Fantastic. Rank shooter in the chat saying great analysis. Well, thank you, mate. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We have a daily podcast, daily live show on YouTube as well. Obviously, the same. 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific every day, plus live fight chats. And our Sunday Patreon-only show on patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio Championship Rounds. I want to hear this interview. Can you turn up a little bit, by the way? Thank you. I muted your mic. You're good. Turn up a little bit, please. More. I'll tell you when to stop. Go to 20. There you go. Yes, you were.
Now 14.
Yeah. Wow. Salute to him, man. Wow. You know what this means? John Jones is about to be a 2-division champ.
Yeah, his road is pretty much just like an easier map for him.
Or hell, DC versus Brock Lesnar next. I'll pay for that.
You'll pay for that?
Fuck yeah.
Hell, I'll cover for you then.
Wow. Wow.
Joe, I am 39 years old.
39 years old. Incredible. Incredible performance.
Everything. From crying in this very same octagon last year, almost a year to the day, to becoming a UFC heavyweight champion. Joe, it is the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. Now, Joe, let me get this microphone for a second.
Oh, and he gave him the mic. You never do that.
Listen to DC. Listen to DC. There's a guy that I've known for a long time. He's a wrestler. He's an All-American.
All right, Brock Lesnar.
He's a former UFC champion. I never thought I would fight him, but Brock Lesnar, get your ass in here.
Oh my God!
Goes into the
And Brock
octagon.
Lesnar goes into the cage. Oh! And he pushed him. Oh my God!
This is the next one. You just know it.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's confirmed now, ladies and gentlemen.
Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Cormier for the heavyweight championship of the world.
Wow, and Brock Lesnar looks so much bigger than him. Wow, I can't believe we're seeing what we are seeing right now. So Stipe just lost down the Brock Lesnar fight, man. That fucking blows for Stipe Miocic, man.
And watch the heavyweight disasters from the beginning. Nagano's a piece of shit. Miocic's a piece of shit. DC, I'm coming for you, motherfucker.
Oh, and he
Oh!
hits the camera with the mic.
Oh my goodness.
You know
Wow.
the promotion for this is going to be nuts.
DC saying you're in my octagon. Wow. Shout out to DC, Daniel Cormier. And now we're getting Daniel Cormier versus Brock Lesnar, man. Yo, for the heavyweight belt. This is completely MMA in its entirety. This is MMA personified in front of us.
This is the show.
This is the show. Wow. Well, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's been your immediate reaction and live fight chat to UFC 226, Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier.
And a hell of an immediate reaction, too, no less.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that one, that just set the entire sporting world on fire. Actually, can you turn that down? By the way, thank you. It's one of those things where I think, while this event wasn't that big, it wasn't this monumental event, it's obviously led to an event that's going to be monumental. DC versus Brock Lesnar. That would do at least 1 million pay-per-view buys. At least. DC, I think, for a lot of people, maybe not all of them, but for a lot of people, I think showed enough to where, not necessarily we forgive the John Jones losses or forget them, but we can sort of separate them and sort of review DC's legacy separate from that. But fantastic performance from him. Santiago, final thoughts. Oh, hold on. Sorry, you're there you go. Now go. My bad.
Matt dropping the ball, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry.
So, obviously, as Matt said, he is now something that you use the John Jones as a connection, but not something that defines his legacy. And, you know, I can't wait. Like, definitely, I hope to be here for the live fight chat, Cormier versus Lesnar. I am looking forward to this. And as many of you know, I follow boxing more than I do this, but that's exciting. I look forward to that, man. Brock Lesnar, I knew from the UFC before I found out he was a wrestler, so this is going to be fun.
It is. And obviously, this has been another edition of Mixed Combat Radio. Find us on all platforms. Like, share the show, subscribe, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio. Peace.